Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Tony Talks, Get Up and Grow. I am your host, Tony Rodriguez. The show is about having conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, and change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but that are doing good in the world and shining some light in the world and hope and inspiration. So today I have the absolute pleasure of having someone who's actually a really dear friend of mine, a brother from another mother, as it were, one of my brothers in arms at the Tony Robbins Trainer family. So my today's guest is Justin White. Justin is not just a trainer with Tony. He's also a CEO Franchisor. He is a certified high performance coach, business strategist, and mentor. And he is also, again, he's got his own businesses. He does a lot of different things, from Airbnbs and he's been in a lot of different industries. So he's a wealth of information, and he's a hell of a fun guy and a good guy to talk to. Like I said, one of my dear friends. And let me just bring him on screen. It is Mr. Justin White himself.
Hey,
Jacket on for us today. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? We were just having a little bit of chat before there, and this call has been long overdue to have a conversation with you, my friend. Every time we get on and we have, I say, Tony and I have powerful conversations.
Yes.
So I've been looking forward to this a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't have shallow conversations. I could have them, but they're really of no interest to me anymore. I've evolved beyond those. So I like to have deep, intentional conversations with people, which is what this is, right? This is a show about having conversations with people that are making a difference and making an impact in the world. And you, brother, are one of those people. I know that you shine your light everywhere you go. We've known each other for probably the better part of 15 years. Fire team, shout out to all the fire team members with Tony Robbins, and certainly the senior leaders and crew and our trainer family. Just a lot of love out to you guys, and hopefully everybody is well and safe during these times. So, and then oddly enough, then we run into each other at Brendan Burchard, because we're both certified high performance coaches. So, in that part, we didn't know about each other. So it was fascinating to run into you there. So we've just been coming across each other in so many different ways over the years. And this, again, is a long time coming. I've been talking about having you on Tony Talks for several months already. And now we have the opportunity to do it.
I've been looking forward to it. It's funny that, I don't think nothing happens by coincidence. And I think you believe the same thing, Tony. Everything happens for a reason. And our paths always intersect right when they're supposed to intersect. If it's at Brendan Burchard, if it's at Tony Robbins, if it's in the fire team. And I was reminded the other day, it's really you're a direct reflection of who you spend time with.
Yes.
And we, as Tony, people working in the Tony environment, we had a beautiful online webinar this week about being in a beautiful state. And there was like 1,600 of us there. And I know you were on the call as well. And it was amazing to see our family, even during these difficult times, these unprecedented times, we're all coming back together. And you've got really true, great friends when no matter how much time goes by, you pick up right where you left off, and you're always bringing value to each other and also the lives around you. So I was looking forward to being on this call and being able to have some fun and drop some wisdom bombs and really share what we're learning, because I learned from you many years ago. You had a saying, and you said, teach me everything you know, and I promise I won't keep any of it.
Yeah.
And that's been something that's resonated with me. So a lot of the tools, techniques, and strategies that we're going to talk about today are ones that we've learned from the greats, like the Tony Robbins, like the Jim Rohns, like the Brendan Burchards. And so I'm excited to be on the call and be able to share and bring some value to Tony Talks.
That's awesome, brother. And I will. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to tag Scott Schilling, because I've got to give credit where credit is due. And Scott Schilling is the person who taught me that, who said that to me for the first time. How teach me everything, and I promise I won't keep any of it. So I'm actually going to tag him here on that, because that's a line that I wind up saying a lot, and it's so true. What's the point of having knowledge of having learned things along the way, of having figured out a different way, a better way of doing things, if you're just going to keep it to yourself, right? we're in an age more than ever of social responsibility and the need to help everyone and help each other. And that's what we do, right? That's what we're doing on this show. That's what you do on a daily basis. Yeah, obviously, aside from having, you know, your paid clients, I know that you're out here as well, contributing and doing a lot. So, hey, look at that. Bryn says, yay for fun and wisdom bombs. Awesome. This is a conversation with me and Justin, or Justin and I, but it's also a conversation with all of you. So by all means, ask your questions, make your comments. It makes it so much more fun. Not that we're not having fun anyway, but it makes it so much more fun. So make your comments, ask your questions, and by all means, do share this live stream. Tag it with someone that you think would benefit from it. And of course, we are streaming live on YouTube as well. So for anyone who doesn't have Facebook, you can certainly join us on YouTube. And if you go to YouTube, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. I appreciate that from all of you. Thank you. So Justin, tell us a little bit. So I know that you're in our northernmost state. So
yeah, I am. It's a little state you may have heard of called Canada. We just piggyback onto the US, but you know, there's an invisible line. So I'm on Vancouver Island. So geographically, I'm on the west coast of Canada, just above Seattle, living in a beautiful spot. And sometimes what I find is that where I live is a little bit of a bubble. You know, we have technology that we can see what else is happening in the world, but living on an island with 1 million people, I sometimes still feel like I'm in a bubble. And what's great is that, you know, where we're at now is we have this technology that we can reach out and do this. So as you mentioned, you know, I'm a certified high performance coach, you know, trainer with Tony Robbins. And what's great is that, you know, I get to get out and meet people from all over the world. Last year, I was in 12 different countries doing events as a trainer, but also attending events. I know you and I attended an event in Portland, Oregon. Yeah. I was thinking about you yesterday, last night, and with doing NLP certification, and we were there. And so I think that, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but I think it's so crucial right now that we become very diligent students. You know, this is the best time in the history of the universe to become a student. And I know a lot of the times I'll look up to my idols, the people that are my mentors, and I'm like, damn, how did you get up there? How did you get to be the Tony Robbins and the Brendon Burchards? And I got to keep reminding myself that they had to start being a student as well and continue being a student. So no matter where you are in the world, it's the greatest time to learn and to keep sharpening the saw, as Stephen Covey would say.
Absolutely. Listen, you know, you got to keep climbing, right? You got to keep learning. You've got to be that perpetual student. You know, I'm certainly, I know you are. We're perpetual students of life, right? Whether it be with learning from, one of our mentors, or reading a book, or just learning from the experiences that we're going through in life, and learning from everyone. Because I like to say that we're all teachers and we're also all students. And we all have something to share. We all have a gift to share. And I can guarantee you, every single person that you meet knows something that you don't, right?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, brother. I'm going to tell you, this week, I had to get, I live in the country like you do on acreage. For anyone who has not lived in the country, we have these things called septic fields. And this, I didn't plan on this conversation to come out. And we have septic fields. Well, I had to get my septic tanks pumped. And the guy who came to clean the septic tanks, yeah, it's a shitty job, but someone's got to do it. And the guy came to do it this week, and he came into the foyer of our home. And when he was there, I guess he had been very observant, and he noticed some books on the bookshelf and some CD audio sets. So when he was out getting his hoses and everything ready to do his job, I came out to say hi and to thank him for coming out and doing what he does. And you know, it may not seem like a glamorous job, but think about it. If you live in the country, it's an essential service. So he came out and he was setting up, and I was like, hey, you know, my name's Justin. Didn't shake his hand, just how you doing? And he said, are you into NLP? And I said, well, interesting. Why do you ask? He said, well, I noticed all the Tony Robbins audio sets and all the books that are on your bookshelf there. And he goes, I could just tell that you're into some type of self-development. And we sparked up a conversation about self-development and mindset and even investing in business. And while he's cleaning out the septic field, we had a 2.5-hour in-depth conversation in the rain. And I learned so much valuable content from this gentleman. And I was able to share some valuable content and insight with him as well.
Yeah.
So I never discount that you can learn something off of anyone and everyone.
And that's where it's beautiful, where you have that flow, that ebb and flow with people, with that conversation. That's why I love doing these talks, right? Because it is so much of an ebb and flow, and I'm learning, and we're learning from each other, and we're learning from people that are posting. We're sharing information. It's kind of like that cycle of life, almost, right? Is where things are just kind of flowing when, and it's great. And at the end of the day, it's great that you went out there, because had you not gone out there and had the conversation, you wouldn't have had that connection. And while he may be just, he may be the person that's pumping out your septic, he might also be the guy who owns a company. It doesn't really matter, because everybody's doing what they've got to do, and everybody's important, right? We've all got an important job to do, and good on you to go out there and share the knowledge with him, because that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to share knowledge, share a little light, share a little levity. And that's a beautiful thing. You've reminded me, I probably have to make that call soon too.
It's not a call that we make every day, but it's a very important call that we make every 4 years.
Yeah, every 3 or 4 years at least, you've got to get that done. They'll tell you sooner, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, so Justin, I know that you've got some, you've also got some interesting hobbies. Like, I know you've got a bunch of chickens running around your place too, right?
Yeah, laying birds. We've got little baby tiny meat birds that are coming. The garden is planted and it's already growing. Living on acreage is never a shortage of things to do, but I think that it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
And right now, one of the biggest industries that's growing. A lot of this time we're looking at our current affairs of what's happening in the world in these times, and people are like, business isn't growing, it's not happening. And there are businesses out there that are thriving right now, and one of the businesses that's thriving is gardening. I went to my favorite farm and feed gardening store the other day to buy peat pellets to put seeds into, and they were almost sold out. And I was like, they usually have like literally thousands of them there, cases of these things, and they're almost sold out. And I said to them, what's wrong? Do you guys not get your delivery? Thinking that there's a shortage of delivery. And the person behind the counter says, no, everybody's a gardener now.
Well, everybody's home, right? Everybody's home. You got to do something. So, and I think it's the right thing to do. Get out there. If you have a little bit of space, even if listen, you can garden. I remember growing up. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, in the city, and we didn't have much of a backyard. But what we had, my dad had these crates, right, milk crates, and he had lined them, put dirt in them, and he always had, we always had some kind of garden, something going on outside. So it's the right way of doing things. Get out there, and it's fun. I do it with my kids as well. We're probably going to plant the garden just this weekend, because we just had frost twice this week, so that's why we haven't planted yet.
I'm in Canada.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah, but you're in Vancouver. Okay, that's kind of like Florida as far as Canada goes. So. Right. I mean, how often does it snow there? It doesn't snow very often.
No, it doesn't snow very often. No, it's a beautiful spot where we're at. I think that what you just said too is about if anyone has any space. I was in China last year, and I was amazed that it's one of the places in the world that you have the least amount of space. Like, everything is tiny. I rented an Airbnb, tiny little balcony, tiny little washing machine, tiny little kitchen, and yet people were growing vegetables on their balconies. So there's really the only thing that stops you is the story you keep telling yourself about, I don't know how to do it, I don't have space, but there's no reason that any of us, all of us, couldn't grow our own vegetables.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about, because I know that you've been involved in several businesses, several big businesses as well. Tell us a little bit about business, because what we promised the listeners is that we'd have a conversation about business and some tips and strategies on how to do things. I know you've done franchising before. You're doing it again. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on, aside from the garden and the chickens and
that's the side stuff. Well, I've been in a little bit of history to go back. For anyone who doesn't know me, I've been in business since I've been 17 years old. So when I was 17, finishing high school, I had my very first company called Just in Time Carpet and Upholstery Cleaning. So when I was 15 years old, I was actually running a carpet and upholstery cleaning company for a gentleman, and he was an alcoholic. And what happened is he had to go to dry out to a facility to get help. And I was 15, and he gave me the company to run while he was away getting treatment. And from that point on, I'm like, I learned about business, and I learned about how, cash flow works and how ROI works and marketing. And I was like, I just, how you get this feeling and it just sinks your teeth into it, and you're like, this is for me. So I always knew that business was for me. So I opened my first company when I was 17. And from that point on, I've just been an entrepreneurial. And I've been a serial entrepreneur with multiple businesses at the same time. So right now, doing the coaching and speaking is one company. As you mentioned, I have an Airbnb company as well, which I'll talk a little bit about that and how to navigate if you're in that type of industry during a time where nobody is traveling. What do you do? And then the third company that I'm running right now is called Your Repair Depot, which is electronics repair. So cell phones, iPhones, Androids, tablets, laptops. And right now, business is booming. No matter what, happens in our economy, people still need their electronics. Probably everybody. Well, first thing, if you're listening to this call, if you're watching it, you're one of my customers. So thank you. The other thing is it's going to break. It's inevitable. We're going to break the screen. Something is going to happen. So they need to get it fixed. And it's really an essential service. And what I've done in the last 60 days is pivoted the company and really needing to adapt, which I know a lot of companies have done, and adapting your business according to what's happening. Because, I coach as well. And I ask a lot of business people, why did you get into business? And they'll tell me, I got in for, freedom. And yet they're working, 60 hours a week. I got in for the money, and I got in for all these different reasons. But really, a business is about having problems. It really is. You think about it. Businesses, you constantly get bombarded by problems, and you've got to get resourceful. You've got to step outside your circle and find resources and solve them. That's what business is all about. And what's happening right now is just another example of how we need to pivot and how we have to be adaptable in order to come up with new solutions in our business. So if you play your cards right, we've heard this before, everything's in a cycle. And right now we're just in a cycle. And if you play your cards right, during the Depression and even in 2001, 2008, those were the times that were the most productive times, where companies made millions and billions of dollars by playing the cards right. And this is just another one of those cycles. And if you play your cards right, you're going to come out of this very happy, very wealthy, and be able to make an impact in the world. So we don't fix cell phones, by the way, Tony. We don't do that. What we do is we keep people connected with their loved ones. That's the business I'm in.
It's just the way of the way you look at it. Look, the reality of it is, and I think I made a post about it today, is change happens when you least expect it. And that's the thing that actually winds up shifting your life the most, right? It's not the changes you expect. That it's not, everybody says, oh, I love surprises. Bullshit. You love surprises that you like. Nobody likes those bad surprises. Nobody likes, so nobody really, people say they love surprises. They love good surprises. But unfortunately, change sometimes happens when we least expect it. And those are the changes that usually affect us and impact us the most. And those of us who are more adaptable to change, those of us who make the conscious decision to ebb and flow and adapt and work around what we've got, those are the people that are going to thrive. Those who just shut down and say, no, this isn't going to involve me. I'm not going to change. This is going to pass. And then, I'll just come out on the other side and it's going to be business as usual, probably have some surprises coming their way. So we all have to be able to adapt and to change. So, the fact that you're doing that, I know that we spoke briefly offline what you're doing with your current Airbnb business is an important thing. But before we get there,
let's give a shout out to Sandy, Fire Team Sandy. I seen her on there.
Sandy's in here. Yeah. Dana is here.
Dana. Duffy's
here. Bren is here. And then looks like an XR Squeeze watching on YouTube. Not sure who that is. It's just another name. And Bianca is in here as well. Right. Opportunities are available everywhere. Yeah, golden opportunities. You just got to know where to look, right? And you got to know what to look for.
Well, the first thing you got to be is looking for them too, Tony. You got to be looking for them.
Well, you got to be looking for them, and you got to know what they are. That's why it's important to expand our minds, expand our horizons, and learn from people so that we can recognize an opportunity when we see it. Sometimes opportunity is presented, but people don't recognize that it's an opportunity, and they let it go on by, right? By the way, Dana has a technical question. She says, "How do I get into my Samsung tablet when I forgot the pattern?" Ball-peen hammer would probably be the way I would do it.
No, tell her to contact me after, and I'll put her in contact with my head technician, Chris. And Chris is the mastermind at Samsung tablets. He'll help her out. And I got to be honest with you, I don't fix phones. I'm a business owner, not so much the operator. So I hire great skilled people that their specialty, and this is, if you're listening and you own any kind of business right now and you have staff, this is a wisdom bomb. This is it. Get people that what their specialty is doing what the service is. Get them where they just love it, that they're passionate about it. The owner of the company does not have to be passionate about or skilled in what they're actually offering as a service. What they got to do is be great at finding great people and bringing the energy up and really, loving and bringing value, and get people who are great at what they do that, they love. Like my techs love fixing stuff. Don't give it to me, but I'm going to introduce you to people that just love what they do. Yeah. So I always tell people too, don't fall in love with your business, but love what you do, because the worst thing you can do is be emotionally attached to your business. And then when something happens, you take it personally.
Yeah. So true. Listen, I've certainly been one of those guys that have been there. So, and I know what the cost of that could be for sure. I've certainly paid the price along the way. So Sandy asks, how do you use the recession?
That's a great question. First thing, recession for me, I don't know what that means. I look at the word, I change the word to opportunity. So recessions are usually a downplayed thing that have a negative incantation to them. So I go with, okay, what's the opportunity here? Then the next thing what I do, Sandy, is I reach outside of my direct circle of resources, because I go, okay, who do I know who has created the company, or who do I know? I'll give you an example. I was coaching a woman 2 weeks ago, and she has a fitness company. Like, she has a gym, and she also does massage therapy. And instantly overnight, your business is done. When we talk about social distancing, it's kind of hard to massage and have people come to your gym when that's your business, that's your livelihood. So she reached out, and we started to come up with different options, because normally when you think I don't have any options, you don't. You have no choices. When you think that you have just two, like I can either do A or B, you have a dilemma is what you have. Right. What you need is 3, 4, 5, 6 different options. So we came up with options like having outdoor classes, doing online classes, reaching out to your customers. Heck, in a recession, the very first thing you got to do is, it's that saying, nobody knows how much you care until you tell them. And reach out to your customers, understand and appreciate where they are, and then give them value. Think outside of it. So when there's this opportunity of a downfall, go, okay, what's the value that I can bring to my customer? When the economy changes, go, everybody's running this way, how do I run this way? Think outside of the box, and the best way to do that is get in with a mastermind or a group of people, and then bring value and ask the questions. Get more people around you. Sit there and go, who do I know who's an influencer? Reach out to them and get a group of people around, because the more people that you get involved, the more ideas and the more options that you're going to have.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. And, the other thing to do is, during a recession, not only look for ways to improve your business, but if you're not in business, or if you are, maybe look around to see what other business you can pick up at a fire sale at a really reduced rate, or look at where the gaps are. One of the things that I learned the other day when I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, he was talking about finding the gaps. That when he first learned how to heli-ski, the best skiers that are just carving through the mountains, carving through the woods, they're not looking at the trees. First of all, you've got to look for the gaps. You don't look for the gap just in front of you. You got to look for the gaps 3, 4, 5 trees ahead so you can go through. And in rough waters, so to speak, or in rough times like this in business, is look for the gaps where you can make a difference, where you can fill the need. You know, look at all these companies that pivoted. Think about all the fabric companies, all the designing companies, mattress companies that they pivoted. They're not selling anything right now, but not only that, so they, in order to keep their employees working, but really to fill the need, they started making masks, right? So they filled the need, they kept their business going. Guess what? They did a good thing. So when they come back on, they've also, not only have they kept their employees working, so they haven't lost their employees, not only have they done something good for the community at large, but they've also come out as a leader in the community. They come out as a leader in their industry, a leader in their business. So how can you stand out as a leader in whatever it is that you do? If you're doing A and you can't do A anymore, well, there's B, C, and D. Like Justin said, one, you have one problem, you're screwed. I mean, you have one choice, you're screwed. You have two choices, you still have a dilemma, because you know maybe neither of those two choices are good. Until you have at least 3 choices, you don't really have a choice. So find those choices, find those gaps, and look for opportunity, because there's opportunity. Unfortunately, in every disaster, in every problem, there's an opportunity. So it's about looking for the opportunity where you can capitalize on it with integrity, right? So, which is an important thing. Capitalize it with integrity. Don't go and don't go after and try to take advantage of people, but with integrity, where can you fill a gap? Where can you fill the need? You know, maybe it's figuring out how to make your business run and then turn into other businesses like yours, because guess what? It doesn't matter what business you have. If you've got a business going on, yeah, you're going to pick up business from some of your competitors because they're not doing the business. That's great, but you can't possibly do all the business. So maybe once you figure it out and you increase your market share and you're doing it right, and everybody's looking at you like, oh my God, how the hell did you do it? How about this? Maybe just for once, just this once, because this is a global problem. How about you teach them what it is that you do so you can help them get ahead? Because at some point, the cool thing about giving somebody a hand and giving them a hand up is at some point you might need that hand up.
I agree. And then you and I being trainers with Tony Robbins, and we're going to these events, we're always there to like go, okay, let's serve. Let's go there to serve. And I know also that there's times that I need to get served. I know there's times when I need to, you know, have a shoulder to lean on, or an ear to, you know, listen, or a perspective. And perspective right now is where it's at. You know, we need to all get perspective, because when we're in our business or even in our lives, think about this, in your health, in your relationships, you're too invested into these things to not have perspective on the outside. And I'm going to go a step further back too, is right now is before you can start to really go out there and look for, okay, what do I need to do? You better be checking in on your energy levels. You better be checking in on how vibrant you are right now. Because if you're sitting there eating Doritos and watching the next season on Netflix and you're not taking care of this, you know, you're not going to have the energy to be resourceful. And I'm going to tell you, Tony, I'm going to share this with everybody. I heard this week and it just blew my mind. The next 6 months, we're going to have to cram a year into it, because you know, we got to make up for what we just lost in the first 6 months. We got the next 6 months. And I'll ask you, are we going to need less or more energy in the next 6 months?
Oh, we're definitely going to need more energy. I mean, that goes without saying.
And this is the time to get energy. There's a saying I love, and it's the time to sharpen your sword is before the battle drum beats.
Yes.
And I tell you, the battle drum is going to be beating real soon. And if we're not sharpening our swords in energy and vibrancy in our business, we're going to be losing the battle. Yeah. And this is the opportune time to be sharpening our swords in all areas. You know, we're home with our kids. You know, I know you've got your boys, I got my girls. We're home with our significant others. This is the time to strengthen relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be there for all those times that you weren't there. Be a little bit more present, which, to be honest, you know, I can't even say that I'm being much more, because I've been on so many Zoom calls, so many webinars. I've been on, you know, I'm doing this show. I've been on other podcasts. So where there seems to be a lot. Like I get off of here, I've got probably about That's going to be a half-hour break, and then I got to get on because I co-lead the New Jersey Power Team meeting. We're doing a coalition of all the local power teams, actually all the power teams across the country. So if you're in a power team, I'll put in, or if you want to just come check it out, I'll put the link in here, and you can join. It's free, and we meet every Friday during this time to just discuss problems and challenges. So I welcome anybody that's on here. So it's one of the power teams that's obviously stems from Tony Robbins and the Tony Robbins organization, where we get together and really discuss, what is happening, and discussing some of the things that we learn along the way, and helping each other. Right. So anyway, I'm going to have a half-hour gap, and then I'm going to be on that for an hour and a half, and that'll be 9:30 by the time I'm done. Take the time when you're not on to spend time and strengthen your relationships. And I love what you said, and sorry for cutting you off, but I'm going to forget this. I love what you said about sharpening your swords before the battle, because so many people don't even have a sword. They're like, oh my God, there's a fight. I got to go get a sword. Well, listen, you're not going to be able to get a sword. And if you are, certainly not going to be sharp. You're probably going to wind up with a stick and then wonder why you lost the battle, or why you couldn't fight, So it's so important to sharpen your sword before the drum beats. Absolutely. So important.
And the most important sword that they have is right here.
Yes, absolutely. Well, what good is having a sword if you don't know how to wield it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's like giving, anyway, I'm not going to make any analogies, but yeah, it's not, what good is having a sword? It's like somebody that doesn't know how to handle a weapon, having a handgun, in the house. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm all about that. But I'm also about knowing how to use
or swords.
What's that?
Handguns or swords. One
or the other. But either one, as a perfect example, if you don't know how to handle it, it could easily be taken away from you and used against you.
Yeah.
But you've got to, it's not enough to get the sword. It's not enough to have the tool. You've got to know how to use the tool. Otherwise, what's the point of having it?
Yeah. And this is a perfect time. I look at it as three different areas: is the health, the wealth, and the relationship. And you've got to sharpen all of those swords right now. And you and I dropped. By the way, I dropped the word busy from my vocabulary. I don't use the word busy. When I hear people say it, they go, "Oh, Justin, you must be really busy right now." I go, "No, I'm blessed with opportunity." Because your choice is so important. A lot of us will go, "Hey, Tony, we should get on this call when we're not busy. We should go do lunch when we're not busy." When are we not busy? Everybody's busy. We all got, lives going on in families. The thing is, we're blessed with opportunities. And when it comes to things like your relationship, and you say, "Well, I'm busy," it's not quantity, it's quality. I have to say, I don't get as much time with my teenage daughters as, I would love to. I've got companies and coaching and that. But, yesterday I took Kayla, who's 18. Kayla and I went for a walk around the ocean, around this air park that we have. And we took the time to have heartfelt conversations without our phones. And we just talked about life. We talked about her and her boyfriend. We talked about her going back to university. And it was an hour long. If you don't have an hour to connect with your family, you better make an hour. Yeah. Because if you talk about it, if it's a dream, if you visualize it, if it's possible, but if you schedule it, it becomes a must. Put it in your freaking phone. Quality time with my wife. Quality time with my daughter, with my son, even if it's 30 minutes to thrive, 15 minutes to fulfillment. These are all the words that we learn for Tony Robbins. I just want to mention that, because a lot of us will say we're too busy, but you're never too busy to have time with the ones you love. Because a lot of us right now, sometimes we're losing the people that we love, and we wish we had gotten that 15, 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah, listen, one of the things that I like, that I've posted before, and I like to post, and it's one of the things that every time I read, it's a punch in the gut. So I'm going to give for everybody a punch in the gut. You ready? It says, instead of saying that I don't have time or I'm too busy, try saying that I'm not making it a priority, or it's not a priority. Yeah. See how it feels. Oh, I'm too busy. I didn't spend time with my kids. Try saying it. I didn't make it a priority to spend time with my kids. I didn't make it a priority to take care of my health. I didn't make it a priority to take care of my relationship. And see how that feels. That's going to feel a whole hell of a lot different.
That's called taking ownership.
Yeah. And
And
man,
a lot of us are quick to blame.
yeah, I post it every now and again because I find it, I see it somewhere. I'm like, oh, you know, and I do, I give myself a shot because, you know, there's things that I could have, should have, would have done. And these are just things that's just a reminder that I get every now and again. And it's a sign from the universe, from God, the universe, whatever, that every now and then it pops up. I'm like, ooh, that stung. Because because we do say that we're busy or we didn't have time. Bullshit. You got time for whatever you need. Oh, I'm too busy. I don't have time to take care of my health. I don't have time to prepare healthy meals. I don't have time to go, you know, do this. I don't have time to do that. Well, you don't have time for now. You're going to have to make, if you don't have time to go to the gym, you don't have time to be healthy, you don't have time to take care of yourself, you're going to have to take time when you're sick. Right? So everybody, we've got the time. It's just, what are you making a priority? And again, I'm speaking to myself again right now as we speak, because you're right. When we first came on, I said, yeah, we're all busy. You're right. We're blessed with opportunity and we have choices. Since I'm on the soapbox, I'll say this. I like to talk about it as well, is we've got to start. And I know that one of my challenges is I say yes a lot. I say yes. And while one of my favorite quotes from Richard Branson is, if somebody offers you a great opportunity to say, even if you don't know how, you say yes and you figure it out later. While I do believe that it's also super important, in contradiction to that, it's also super important to say no. And I'm learning how to say no more and more often, because if you don't say no and you keep saying yes to everything, at some point you're going to have to start saying no to the things that really matter, to the people that really matter. So you just start saying no more often than yes, because as we get more and more opportunities coming our way, right? As we're getting more and more opportunities, we've got to start to kind of screen through those and make sure that, and sift through them and make sure that we're only grabbing the ones that we really A, can do, B, are committed to, and C, aren't going to take so much time away from our other commitments and especially our commitments to ourselves and our families, that it winds up jeopardizing us in the future, for sure.
Sometimes you got to say no to say yes.
Yes, that's the point. In order to say yes, in order to say yes to the things you want to say yes to, you've got to say no to other things. So absolutely.
And I have a term that I share quite often. You know, living on Vancouver Island, I'm surrounded by ocean, and I love fishing. I'm a big fisherman. Actually, next week I'm going halibut fishing off the West Coast, and I love fishing. So what's great about fishing is sometimes you get fish and sometimes you don't. You ever hear that? You get skunked. So sometimes you'll go out there and you'll put your line down in the water, and sometimes you'll land a huge halibut. Sometimes you'll go home empty-handed. That's called fishing. That's why it's not getting meat, it's fishing. Because sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. And what I say is that when an opportunity comes and presents itself, go fishing. Cast your line out. You know, reel it, see what it feels like. If it's good, reel it in. If it's not, just let it go. When I hire staff, I go fishing. A lot of the time when I don't even need to hire staff, I'll put out a post on Indeed or on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and I do it in a creative way so that it's not me being desperate. It's saying that there's an opportunity open, and anyone who's has to hire people, please reach out and contact me. I'm going to share with you. It's called Pub, and it's a system on how to attract key players for your organization. So that way you're not, you know, in business, one of our highest expenses is staffing. And how many times you do an interview and it's kind of like a first date, and the people seem amazing and they're telling you everything and how great their skills are, and their resumes, you know, 8 pages long, and they just perfect. And then what happens 3 to 4 months into the relationship? They're gone. They're cheating on you. They're not around anymore. It's a working relationship. That's what it's called. And there's a system called Pub, right? And what it does, I got taught by another, you know, mastermind friend of mine.
You have to take them for pints after work every day?
Pub stands for personal. So you want to make your ad personal. And so what it is it's asking them, do you feel appreciated at your current workplace? Do you feel like you want more and you want to make a difference, not just a paycheck? Make it about them. How many companies make their ad about who? Them. Yeah. We need this. We're the biggest company in the market. We have X amount of, you know, employees worldwide. We're in 13 different countries. They make it all about them. You make the ad about the person who's actually reading the ad. You make it personal. The next thing you do is you make it urgent, meaning we have the opportunity with 2 spots open, but we don't say now hiring need to fill, because then you're desperate. Nobody wants to be desperate. You know, when you're on a, remember back, I know you've been married for a while, but you remember when you were dating, you didn't want to come off as being desperate.
Right.
So what you want to do is make it urgent for them to apply. The other B that you want to make is you want to make it brief, because if it's got too many words, nobody's going to read your ad. So make it brief. And the last B, because there's actually another B in pub, and the other B is make it bullet points. So it's easy to read. And I didn't plan on getting into this, but that's what it is. And it just makes sense. So I'm going to come back to going fishing. If you see an opportunity, go fish, test it out, toss your line. You know, if you need new staff and your staff aren't, you know, giving the output that needs or the value to your clientele, go fishing for new staff. So I don't always say yes, but I do a little bit of fishing, because sometimes you might land the big one, and that's what we're looking for in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I do pride myself in always entertaining opportunity, because you never know when that's going to be a big fish on the line. So
yeah.
Great analogy. I don't want to ignore Sandy. Sandy asked a question here, which we're not going to be able to answer. And by the way, Anthony says hello. Here's what his
Mr. Pinto. He says two freaking. It takes a freaking stud to see 2 freaking studs.
Exactly. But Sandy asked this question, and there's really no answer to it. What's real soon, weeks or months, in terms of when this is going to be over? I wish I had that crystal ball. And there's really no way of knowing what that is. You know, what I always tell people is hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And I've been saying that since the very beginning. Keep that sword sharp, because you never know when the battle drum is going to go. And you don't know if it's going to be in 6 weeks, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 8 weeks. You know, Georgia apparently decided to reopen for business today, and they're getting a lot of flack for it. And it's going to be a test drive. If they open up, and granted, they're also one of the warmer states, so they say this stuff doesn't last very long in higher temperatures. We'll see what happens. But if they open up and in 2 weeks their numbers skyrocket, the number of infections skyrocket and the deaths skyrocket, guess what? The next 2 to 8 weeks might turn into the next 2 to 6 months. You know, so you just don't really know. So that's a difficult question to answer. I would just say though, keep sharpening your sword. Keep sharpening your skills, and keep looking for opportunity. And where is it that you can now make an impact? Where can you make a difference? Where can you add value? Again, in this time, especially when success or doing great business is difficult, if you're not in the medical industry, or if you're not in some kind of essential business, it's difficult to be doing business. So this is almost more appropriate now than ever. But instead of trying to become a person of success, become a person of value. How can you step into your clients' lives, or to your friends' lives, or to your neighbors, or to your community? What impact can you make? How can you elevate them? How can you lighten the load? How can you make somebody smile? Because that's something that's so important right now. But anyway, I'm gonna step off the soapbox again. I'll let you kind of touch that one.
Well, I want to touch back on sharpening the sword. You know, I put motions to things, because motion is emotion. When I'm sharpening the sword, Sandy, you know, make sure that you have a morning practice. I'm going to go 5, 6. I'm going to go back 8 years ago. I was doing fire teaming. Were you in Jersey when we had the fire, the snow walk?
Oh yeah. I was a pit monster that day. All
right. So yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's not aware of it, Tony Robbins has these events, Unleash the Power Within. And part of the event on day 1 is Tony teaches you the mindset of how to walk on a hotbed of coals. And in the infinite wisdom of the planning, they decided to have the fire walk in November in Jersey in a snowstorm. And so you can imagine we had a problem lighting the fire, but we didn't even get that far, because the sod, the grass that they put down that normally people walk on, came on a skid, and it was frozen together.
Yeah.
We couldn't even start the fire. We had to go get bags of sand and dump them out to burn the fire on, because the sod was frozen. And at this fire walk, you know, we had it done. We got the fire walk. We lit the fire. Everybody walked. We had our outcome. We knew what we were going to do, and we got it done. And then on the way, I took off to go to Mexico with my daughters for a daddy-daughter trip to Mexico. So I literally flew from Jersey back to Canada, pick up my girls, then down to Cancun. And a friend of mine, and Daniel Butler, who's a fire teamer as well, was driving me to the airport from the event in New Jersey to Newark Airport. He's driving me, and he could only see out this much of his window because it was all snow. And he's driving, and he says, "Hey, Justin, you want to wake up like it's Christmas every day?" And I was like, "Damn, yeah, I love Christmas. Like, Christmas is exciting." He says, "Great, I'm going to send you something." And I thought Daniel was crazy, wouldn't give me any more information. And after I got back from Mexico, this book was in my mailbox, and it was called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
Yes.
I knew you'd know what the book is. And this is like 8 years ago when Hal got started, really before he got big. And the book's like that thick. It's not a big book. And I started reading this book, and right away I put it to principle in my life. And it's based on how you start your morning is how you live your day. And he uses the word SAVERS as an acronym to remember the steps of the miracle morning. And what they are is the word SAVERS is S is for silence or meditation. A is for affirmation. B is for visualization. E is for exercise. R is for reading. And S is for scribing or journaling. And I'm going to tell you, it changed my life. It changed my life. My days are like, it's the foundation of my success. I started getting up at 7:30 in the morning. And by the way, I love sleeping in. Then it turned to 7 in the morning, then 6:30, then 6. Now it's like 5:30. I get up in the morning and I spring out of bed like a kid on Christmas morning. And I'm walking up my street with the dogs and I'm doing my incantations. Now I am the voice. I will lead, not follow. I got a whole slew of them.
I will believe, not doubt.
Exactly. I think Tony's heard these before.
Well, every morning, it scares the hell out of the deer anyway, because the neighbors hear it.
And visualizing and exercising, all of this. And why I'm bringing this is you got to have a routine for success. And it doesn't have to be the miracle morning. You could get up and you could pray, you could breathe, you could, say, what are the 3 things I'm grateful for, or what am I excited about today? But I'm talking like, have a routine that is going to give you the foundation for success for your day. And that's another form of sharpening the sword. If you don't have a routine, Google routines of, Oprah Winfrey, routines of Tony Robbins. Anyone that that's your mentor, find out what they do. Reach out to them. And it doesn't have to be a big famous person. Maybe it's somebody who's in your local community, that's inspiring others.
Maybe it's just
right.
Just in time.
Dude, send it, email me. I'll tell you what my routine is, but have some habits that support what you're doing. Because the people that are in the circle that I hang with, when problems come, because they're going to come, be it the coronavirus or in your business, have something that supports it, because then you've already sharpened your sword. So the battle drum beats, you're already ready. Now, I'm going to ask you, Tony, I know you've got some really great morning habits. I see them online. Maybe you can share, like, what's your miracle morning look like right now?
Well, my morning is I'll get up, and I usually, now I have this oscillating machine, which is called the Chi machine. I got the Chi machine, so I lay down on that for about 50. How awesome is that, right?
Every day.
I owe that to Joseph McClendon, because he kept saying it all the time, and I finally got one, and I messaged him. I'm like, "Hey, I got it." He's like, "Dude, how great is it when it stops?" I'm like, "I don't know, I haven't used it yet." He's like, "Hit me up when you get off." And I'm like, "Holy cow. When that machine stops, you just feel like you're one with everything," right? It's so amazing. So I take that time.
Can you share with people what it is if they don't know what it is, so it gives them an idea?
So it's a machine that you put your ankles in, and your legs are elevated, and it does like a figure 8 motion, right, side to side, and it just oscillates your body. There's actually, I think it's called an oscillating machine, right? I think that's the real name for it. So what it does is it just shakes. I don't know if you want to be able to describe it better.
What it does is, it's moving your ankles in there, And what it does a variety of different things, but it gets the lymph system working. It actually moves every muscle in your body, your head shaking, your arms shaking. It works your core, you lose weight, it builds up your energy. They only put a 15-minute timer on the machine because they only want you to do 15 minutes of it. And when you're done, you literally vibrate.
Yeah.
Every nerve in your body vibrates. We were at Trainers Academy, like 6 weeks ago, I think, or 5 4. Huh?
Did you have yours with you?
No, we were at Trainers Academy. Joseph McClendon III was on the screen on Zoom, and everyone asked him what his morning routine was, and he said, I don't do a day without 15 minutes on my chi machine, then stretching and working out. And then I'm like, what model?
Oh, yeah. I had gotten it. Yeah. So I had gotten it probably a month before that. So I've had it for about 2 months. It's fantastic. So Dana's asking where to get it. I'll put the link for the one that I got right in here. So I'll put it in after we're done here. It's amazing. So anyway, I go on that. And during that time, I do a little bit of meditation, right? I just sit there and I just kind of breathe and I focus. Then I walk. Every morning I walk, and it'll be anywhere between 5:45 and 6:30, depending on the day. It's been more 5:45, but in the winter it's more like 6:15 because it's just really dark. So I get out in the morning. The first thing I do my gratitude spiral, right? Which is what Tony Robbins teaches in his Hour of Power, where you start with yourself. So it sounds something like this: thank you, God, for another day, another opportunity to live, to love, to be loved, to learn, to grow, to share, to do. And, I just kind of go on from there about, just be grateful, and then grateful for myself, my physical, mental, emotional health, my wife and her physical, emotional health, the health of our relationship with our children. And you just kind of spiral out. So you spiral out and encompass everyone and everything that you've got to be grateful for. And then as part of that, also the visualization of being grateful for what it is that's to come, for what it is that you want that day to look like, that week to look like, what it is that you want to attract into your life. So being grateful forward is part of that. Then I certainly do, now I am the voice. I will lead, not follow. I believe not that I will create, not destroy. I am a force for good. I am a force for God. Now, I go through the whole thing, right? Not that fast, but I do that whole incantation. Then I do the whole I ams, right? Because as the words that follow I am follow you, right? So who are you? I am strength. I am courage. I am hope. I am love. I am commitment. I am discipline. And you go through whatever it is that you need, what you need that day, you can give yourself. I do the whole all I need is within me now, right? And I do some breathing exercises, and I walk for anywhere between, depending on the weather, depending on how much time I have, 30 to 60 minutes. Yeah. And that's my morning routine. Then I come home, I will get the kids up, or depending, now they're not in school, so they get to sleep a little bit longer. I take some photos, as you see a lot of the photos that I take on my morning walks. And that's kind of my morning routine, at least 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday, depending, but definitely Monday through Friday is what is that. That's what I do. Oh, and I drink a bottle of water before I leave the house, a whole bottle of water, and then I drink another one when I get back home. So
it sounds like I'm listening. You and I, let's just go do our morning routines together, because they're almost identical. I'm strength, I am power, I am fearless, I am gratitude, I am love, I'm intelligent, I'm creative, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough.
Now, those of you who are watching, it almost seems like it's theatrics, but it's not, because you've got to embody that emotion. You've got to embody courage. You've got to embody strength, passion, love, peace.
There's a difference between going, and I'm glad you brought up love, because you can't go, I am love. It's like, I am love.
Yeah, you got to feel the emotion, not just
gratitude. Yeah. Emotion is emotion. And if you're just saying, I am love, I am strength, you're just going through the motions. And I'll tell you, too many people go through the motions these days. They don't show the emotion. And the way you show emotion is with motion. You engage your body, your physiology. You get into it. You do this weird thing. You might have heard of it. It's called smiling.
Yeah. Show them all you got them.
And so I'm glad that you shared your routine with us, because there's people out there that, don't have any routine. They may have been like I did, where I used to set the alarm for 8 o'clock, wake up, hit the snooze button, roll back asleep, get up at 8:30, drag my ass out of bed, shower, chug back a half a gallon of coffee, and then head out the door. And that's just a recipe for a heart attack and obesity and stressful day. So I think that the big thing about this is people may be listening and going, oh my God, Tony, I can't get up at 5:30, and that's like, 2 hours of my day. Great, do it for 15 minutes. Okay. You've never done any of it, do it for 5 minutes and just check in and see how you feel.
So important. I love that you said that, because I've worked with a client that, she said, I want to do my morning routine, but I never get to do all of it. And, and I have them go through it, and it was like 20 items, 25 items. I'm like, then you wonder why it is that you don't feel successful, because you start your day. It's got to be easy. So if you don't have a morning routine, just start this way. Wake up 15 minutes earlier, drink a bottle of water first thing in the morning, not a can of Coke, not a juice, not a cup of coffee. Drink a whole bottle of water, a 16-ounce or 20-ounce bottle of water, a glass of water, whatever you have, right? Just drink that and just do your gratitude. What are you grateful for today? And write down 2 or 3 or 4 things that you're grateful for, and just do some breathing exercises. That's it. You can breathe. We can all breathe. Look, we're doing it now, right? So we're doing it already. So do it with intention, and all you need is 10 or 15 minutes, and then you can just start adding things on. I will say this, just so that nobody thinks, oh my God, how do you know an hour or whatever? When I first started walking, well, I've been walking a long time, but when I first started walking with intention in the morning as part of the morning ritual.
You started walking about 3 months ago. It was amazing.
Walking 6 years ago.
Yeah, his wife held his hand, his pinkies, and he took us for a step.
Crawling was a nightmare. But I would only go out for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because I was just so out of shape, because I would go out and I do a fast-paced walk. You can do a slow-paced walk. You don't have to walk at all. You can just stretch. You can do something like that. So yeah, you know what? Jeff just said something great that I'm going to touch on. Everyone has a routine. The question is the routine serving you or not? Dude, so glad that you said that.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, there you go. Drop that mic. That is so great, because everyone has a routine. But does your routine help you, or does it screw you over? Does it help you get your day started on a good on a good step, or on a good side, or does it really screw you up and set you out for disaster? Does it, because so many people wake up and like, oh shit, not another day. Why? How do you think your day is going to go? Right? Yeah. And listen, I don't wake up every morning and say, oh my God, this is so great. I can't wait to go out. It's only 5 degrees out. By the way, that's in Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it's a lot colder. But I not one day do I say, I can't wait to get out in that freezing cold, or I can't wait to leave my warm bed, or whatever it is. But you know what? If you want to have I used to say this to myself all the time, and it got to the point that all the time. When I didn't want to get up, it was like this: if you want to have what others don't, you've got to be willing to do what others won't. Get the up. Yeah. I would say that to myself, and then after a while, it was the wildest thing. I wouldn't want to get up. In my mind, it'd play. I'm like, damn it, all right already. Like, my subconscious is then telling me and commanding me where to go. So be intentional. Yeah. Run your day, prepare your day, run your day. Don't let your day run you, because it's either one way or the other. So yeah, thank you for that, Jeff. So beautiful. Make sure that you're intentional. Smile. Wake up in the morning. If you do nothing else tomorrow, wake up in the morning and smile, and just be grateful for another day, because another day is another opportunity, right? I was on someone's podcast a couple of weeks ago, and Shay Brown, it's a Happy Entrepreneur. There you go, plug for Shay Brown. And he's the guy that says, every day is my January 1. Every day is my January 1, because every day is a new opportunity to start a new thing, to start a new life. Every day, tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life.
Say yes.
Yes, baby. Woo! Says Bianca. Yeah, Jeff Lobeck dropping bombs.
Dropping bombs. I think too, I want to bring up
truth bomb.
Is that you got to have some routines during your day too.
Yeah.
You got to have some times to reset. And that's been something that was a learning lesson for me in the last 6 months, is that how many times do you do your work, and then you come racing home if you're driving home, and you just go into your front door and now you're with your kids or with your family, and all of a sudden you're still thinking about your work. It's still lingering. It's kind of like a jet stream. You know, jet goes across and there's that stream behind it. You got to have a reset between the different parts of your life. You know, you're going to have a reset between work and family home, you know, and it can take just 2 minutes, you know, 2 minutes of breathing, and make sure that you're setting the feeling that you want to bring. You know, if you're coming into a meeting or a phone call or this, before we jumped on the call, Tony caught me doing some qigong and some breathing work and some exercise work, and I was bringing in two things into the intentions into the call. You know, I wanted to have fun. I wanted to serve. Fun, serve. So think about it, because most people are not consciously aware of the feeling that they're bringing through the day and the feeling that they want to feel out of the situation. So be consciously aware of that and have, you know, routines in your day that break it up. Have a reset, do a breathing, do a qigong. We could have a whole show about that. But do something, maybe just go outside and take a breath of fresh air, or do a quick little 2-minute meditation to clear your head from the baggage of work, so that you're not bringing it into your kids and into your wife or into your husband. You know, clear it out. Don't have that smoke screen or that trail. Or you're doing emails, you know, before you do your emails and you just finished doing something else, clear your head, take a 2-minute reset. Reset yourself, get you back into the game. What are the feelings you want to bring, and what do you want to feel?
Let's say a little box breathing or something. Absolutely. Listen, we can go on obviously for the next 2 or 3 hours, but I want to be respectful of people's time. And we're already flipped over the hour mark. And, you know, everybody always, I keep hearing, oh, I only do 30 minutes. I only do 40 minutes. And that's probably a little easier for people to click on and watch a video that isn't an hour long. But here we are at an hour. So I want to give you some last thoughts, but also, obviously, you and I are both certified high performance strategists and coach and mentors and speakers and everything else. How can people find you?
Social media, they get onto Facebook, get onto Instagram, go to LinkedIn. You know, I'd be happy to have a conversation, to do some brainstorming with people, and to really create those options, because when you're so deep into it, it's hard to get perspective. And a lot of what coaching is asking questions to get to the truth, and then getting the perspective and creating options. So I'd be happy to serve with people. So just look me up, Justin, Justin, white, just like the color.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So final thought.
We talk about sharpening the sword. Just by you listening to this call, just by the listeners listening, they're already sharpening the sword. They're already thinking of options. They're already thinking in creative ways. So no matter if you haven't, you know, done morning practices, now you're aware of it. You're consciously aware. So the learning is already starting. And when would now be a good time to start preparing for the future? Because most people are thinking about what they're going to do today, not what they're going to do in a month, and 6 months, and a year from now. So seize the opportunity, sharpen your sword, and start now. You've already begun.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. Don't go away. I'm just going to close up the show. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for tagging your friends. If you haven't done that yet, please do so. I appreciate that. And again, follow me on Instagram as well at Tony Rodriguez with an S, Tony Rodriguez 2.0. And you can also find me on YouTube. If you can just go to hashtag GetUpNGrow or put in my name, find me, and please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. Thank you again for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow. We have, again, our Standing Saturday. Brian Bradley from Egoscue is going to be on again tomorrow, sharing some knowledge and helping us get out of pain and just love and cherish, not love and cherish, but really take care of the temple that is our body. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you again for watching. Remember, my friends, that in life, it is not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get up. And you fall down 7 times, you get up 8, and every single time you fall, you have the opportunity to get up and grow we must. I appreciate all of you. Let's see, Natalie, last comment. I used to have a morning routine with my daughter. She was 8. We used to go for a walk, stretch, have breakfast, and then I would leave for work while she would be ready to school. We started at 6 a.m. Best time ever. Time to restart that.
When would now be a good time, Natalie?
Would now be a good time to restart. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate everyone for watching. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great
brother. Thank you.
Hey, Jeff, don't go away.